Hello guys and welcome in a new video. In the last video we talked about Ansible playbook file, and in this video we'll see first module. This is a file module, and a very useful module in Ansible. And first of all, if you want to not miss the next video, you can subscribe to my channel. In this playlist you can discover many modules, and you can find some concepts and definitions about Ansible, and we'll practice with some examples Ansible. So about file module, you can find documentation with this link. And if you don't have internet, or if you want to use Ansible doc with the command line, you can use the binary Ansible doc with the module name. This is a simple CLI like this. We have Ansible, okay. So Ansible -doc. And we can specify file, for example, and we can see, like a man, some description about this module, and some parameters like attributes, or follow, or force, or group, mode, and whatever. So before to start, we can generate a SSH key and push it on the target server. So to do that, we could use SSH keygen -t to specify the type of the key, and -b for the size of the key. So we can say 2048 for the size. So by default, SSH create your private and public key in your .ssh directory in your home, like this. You must enter a passphrase, but if you don't want, you can, but it's more secure to use a passphrase like this. Okay, and now we have public key, private key, sorry, and public key with .pub, and to push it on our target server, you can use SSH copy ID, and by default SSH copy ID push your public key when this public key is in your .ssh directory, like this. So if you want, you can specify another path with -i and specify the path. This is not necessary for us. So we use background user at devons2, like this, and we must pass our password, the last password. So background, like this, and we have added our public key on devons2 server. Okay. Okay. Just now we can check how to use the file module. File module could be used to manage files, or manage directories, or to simply create symbolic links. So you can pass many parameters to file module, like attribute, this is a specific characteristics about a file. You can check with change attribute this very good page on Wikipedia about change attribute. And you can use force parameter. This is for specific for symbolic links. If the source link does not exist, you can force and create the link even if the source file does not exist. You can specify the group about the group of file or directory, and you can add the owner, same for like the group, and you can add mode. This is permissions about these files. This file, sorry. You can specify with two formats. A simple number format with 0755, or if you want, you can use a POSIX format like this with U plus X or other. So you must specify the path of the directory or the file. You can specify if you want to use the recursive mode to create all the paths of the directory. Only for directories, this parameter is only for directories. This the directories mode. So you must specify the source directory for the symbolic link with src. And you can and you must specify the state with absent or directory or file or hard or touch. If you want, with absent you remove a directory or file. If you specify directory, you create a directory, or yes, you create a directory simply, or a path. If you specify file, you just check if the file is present, like stat module. If you specify hard, you create a hard link, and touch, you simply create an empty file. So we can start. First of all, we need to create an inventory. So like this, it's okay. This is a good inventory, okay. And to use it, we must to have a playbook file. We will see. We have seen that in the last video. So we can edit a playbook.yml file. Playbook. Okay. So we add the name of the playbook, my first playbook, for example. So we specify the host about the playbook into playbook is simply which server, maybe a group like this all, or maybe a specific server like devons2 for in our example. So in our case we use all. Okay, so we can specify which user we use to connect on the target server. In our case, we use Vagrant user. So if you don't want to specify this in CLI, you can add it like this in a playbook file with a remote user parameter. So we can specify some tasks, and in our task we use file module simply. So to do that, first of all, we can use a ping module to test SSH connection, for example. And to use a module, we have seen that in the last video. We can add the module ping like this, and to run it, we do ansible-playbook-i inventory and playbook.yml. So in this case, we use SSH key to connect on target server, and we can see, okay, this is good to connect on Devons too. So now we can use a file module in our playbook. So we can reuse this line like this. We specify a file module. Be careful to indentation, and we specify the path. And we want to create a directory in /tmp and directory xavkey. And if you want, you must specify the state, and the state in our case it's a directory, and the state directory. Okay, so we run again the command, and we have a changed task because in our case the directory does not exist, and this is a change on target server. We must change the name of the task because it's not a test SSH connection, but create a file or whatever. Okay, and if you check ls on /tmp, and we see a directory named xavkey. Okay, if you add -la, we see the directory have been created with vagrant user and attribute to vagrant user and vagrant group. Okay, this is the default user, and this default user is the user of SSH connection. If you want to change it, you can add owner and add, for example, root at owner. And if you do that, you have a fatal error because this is forbidden to create a directory for a root user, because to do that you must use elevation of privileges, and to do that you can go and modify this task and specify become close. Yes, become can be used in the playbook file, in the task, or if you want, you can add become for all playbook, all task into playbook, not only one task like this, like previous. Or if you want, you can do a become user simply without the -b option in your CLI, like this. And our user, vagrant user on target server, is in the sudoers with no password, and you can do a become without password simply. Okay, so in our case, simply we add become user for all tasks in our playbook file. Okay, we create a directory. So now, if you check, we have a directory with permission for the owner. This directory owner is root user. Okay, and you can, if you want, you can add the group of this directory, for example, root again for the group. You can remove -b option because we have become yes, and now you have changed the group of this directory. Okay. In our case, we have changed status on this task because we have changed the group of this directory. If you run again, you can see we have OK and not changed task because we have Ansible do and use idempotency. Idempotency is like Ansible check if you need to change to do some change, and if the task is already have been already done, Ansible do nothing and simply say OK and not changed. Okay, so okay, I have already do that. Okay, if you want, you can create a path with many directory like this. Okay, to do that, we use the recursive mode. So /1 2 3 4. Okay, and we want a recurse mode, yes, only for directory, and be careful. Okay, so like this. Okay, and if we check, we don't see this. Okay, the /tmp exaf key. Okay, and we have created the path with 1 directory, 2 directory, 3 directory, and directory 4. Okay. If you want, you can set the mode for the permission like this. Mode 7. Don't do it, but we can specify 777 like this. Remember to use O and run again. And now if you check -la, so why okay, yes, okay, like this, just only for exaf key directory, and we see rwx for other group and owner simply. Okay, and now if you want, you can create a file, an empty file with touch state. To do that, we can edit our playbook and our task and -1 -2 -3 -4 and exafkey.txt. Okay, and now we remove recursive mode and the state is touch simply. Okay, now we run the command, and now if you check ls /tmp exafkey 1 2 3 4, and we have the file exafkey.txt, and if we add -la, we see a file, an empty file, and the permission 777. Okay, and now if you want, you can create the symlink, a symbolic link, and to do it, we change that, and we specify the path. This is the sorry, the source, not the path. src, and this is the source, and now destination, this is the target directory, and we create /tmp and symlink, for example. State, this is a link, not a hard link, symlink, so simply. And if you want to, you can change the mode. And now we run it again. And ls-la on /tmp. And if you check, you can find a symlink who is named symlink, and the target directory is our directory 4. Okay. And now if you want, you can remove a file with file module. To do that, you can specify the path of the file. Okay, is xavkey.txt and change with path and the state absent, and you could remove all other parameters. Okay, run it again, and if you check in directory 4, you can find no file because we have removed it. Okay, and if you want, you can remove with a recursive mode, and to do it, you can do simply remove all directory, so we keep only xavkey directory and state absent. And Ansible can find if you want, if you need to use directory or file, and remove all necessary like this, and run it again. And if you do that, you can have an error with our ls command, and you don't find the file or the directory. Okay, and for all the paths, and we only keep /tmp, and our symlink is break. Okay, I think it's all for today. Okay, if you want, you can find these slides. You can find it in the link with the link in the video description. Thank you for watching this video. Don't miss the next one, and I say goodbye.